Rebecca Quinn. So, reported today, will soccer still hold space for Rebecca Quinn now that they're out? Okay. I don't fully understand all this, so let's just get into it. On Wednesday night, soccer star Rebecca Quinn announced to the world via Instagram that they are transgender. Quinn plays midfield for the NWSL, the Reign, the Canadian women's national team, and is an Olympic bronze medalist. They are the first out transgender player on either team. While Quinn's announcement is a proud moment that will likely pave the way for future generations to self-identify, an ugly question now looms: will soccer accept them as they are? I don't. I'm confused. It keeps referencing two. Is she two people? And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to understand. So so multiple, and for the ones that understand all the acronyms or not, the binary, non-binary, them, they, all those. I don't understand them, and I get all you haters out there. Probably you should spend time and study. You know what? You know how hard school was for me? It was flipping insanity for me. I suffered for years upon years because I couldn't understand anything. I had so many learning disabilities. It was so horrific going through the educational system that I went through. It's no joke. Problem. And I cover in this dang podcast. Most of you guys know, the active listeners. I was choking to death coming out of my mother's womb with the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck. That causes a lot of brain damage that haunts you for the rest of your life. That happened to me. I was choking to death. Doctor spun me out of that dang umbilical cord and saved my life, and life moves on. But so I say that because now we're adding more problems in my life by it's like I'm back in school. I got to figure out all these things. I don't know what it is. So now I think they is multiple. So let's read on to fully understand what the heck's going on. Thanks to the tireless efforts of its players, the NWSL of today is largely supportive of its lesbian and bisexual members, but many fans haven't forgotten about the division in the league just 5 years ago between Christine and queer players. But the league and the Canadian national team are now confronted with how to navigate the strict adherence to the gender binary within the sports community and whether or not that leaves a spot on the teams for Quinn. It will fall at the feet of the NWSL commissioner, Lisa Baird, who will decide whether all the rainbow gear the league pumps each June is just for show, or if the league will keep a stellar transgender player on the roster. Okay. Quinn was chosen to represent their native country on the Canadian national team for the now postponed 2020 Olympics. However, the International Olympic Committee is notoriously clueless as how to treat athletes who are trans or gender nonconforming. All right. That's a mean statement because all of this is new. I'm not understanding a lot of this. You know, there's the Olympic Committee, their adherence to drug testing and the things they have to do to make sure things are staying fair. And that's before for adding the they, the him, the her, the non-binary, binary, and I guess they, the two of them. I mean, if there's two of her or him or they, dang it, if there's two of they, does that mean they play with 12 on the field? So they have to play a player short. I'm sorry, they play with 11, but really we'll see 10 because that's two. So does she have to cover two positions? That's how stupid this thing can get. I mean, it's so confusing. And I get, I guess I'm whatever phobic, or I'm not. I'm just, I don't understand, and that is my problem trying to deal with this. And it's okay not to understand, but I have a lot of questions, and let's get through this so we can ask some questions. And I apologize for the ones on my podcast right now. You might not learn anything on this podcast today, as far as in this portion, because I don't understand. So maybe you can comment and help me understand without destroying me for even talking about it, because this is touchy. I could, if I say the wrong thing, I'm done. But I like being on the edge, so that's how I'm gonna roll. All right, so it goes on. The most recent and painful example of this is Caster Semenya, a South African woman track star who has been penalized by the governing body of her sport because of a genetic condition in which her body produces more testosterone than the standard female range, according to the New York Times. And I remember I actually saw that documentary. So she was like destroyed everyone, and she was is a female, and I guess they found the male part that wasn't it was like not fully developed, and it didn't fully process. So I think she was a hermaphrodite, but no fault of her own. But they stripped her of everything, which I thought that was BS. Because in my opinion, in that situation, she's genetically gifted more so than competing with her others, and I don't think in that situation you just can't. I think going to fairness. I mean, this is how it's all confused. I don't know what to think. I mean, but she got stripped, but she didn't do anything to compromise what she's doing. But I don't know. That's a goofy situation as well, and that was unfortunate because she wasn't cheating or anything like that. The South African women's track star who has been penalized the government body of her sport because of a genetic condition which her body produces more testosterone than the standard female range. According to the New York Times, as Jezebel previously reported, the ruling preventing Semenya from competing, which tied women's eligibility to their testosterone levels, was held once again on Tuesday, and it will likely become a standard practice. That's just where we're at. There's so many cheaters in sports, so many. I mean, if you just watch Lance Armstrong's documentary, I mean, they all cheat. And they can cheat to the point where they know they'll get caught, but years down the road. And that's the problem, trying to keep things fair. And now we're adding this into the mix. And I'm not a fan at all. I do not support transgender men transitioning to a female and competing in like MMA. Because I seen video of that. And that's destructive, and that is just not appropriate. I mean, could kill someone. It's ridiculous how males could transition and not even fully transition the way we're headed and take over sports on the women's side. Are we not protecting women ever anymore? We're destroying women. It's sad. And I'm not comparing it to this situation. Scared to death about talking about this, as I wing it on every episode. The Times speculated that the IOC would adopt a similar policy for all women competitors as dictated by the IAAF for the 2020 Olympics, but Pink News reported that the IOC has yet to offer updated policy for trans and gender nonconforming athletes. The policy currently in place could greatly hinder Quinn's shot at returning to the Olympics in 2021, according to the Pink News. A consensus statement published in 2015 allows trans women to compete in female categories under a series of conditions, which include the athlete publicly declare that their gender identity is female, with a declaration unable to change for a minimum of 4 years. There are also specific requirements as how much testosterone can be present in the body in order to be cleared to compete. In Quinn's public announcement of their trans identity, they didn't make mention of testosterone or giving any glimpse into their journey towards coming out. And it's important to know that they are not obliged to do so. There could very well be a future in which Quinn and other trans athletes are not grilled about every aspect of their gender before being allowed to play sport they've been excelling at since childhood, but sports governing bodies would have to pull themselves into a century for something like that to happen. We'll see if the shift comes quickly enough for Quinn. I don't understand. So we don't know how she's transitioning. The thing is, how I understand it, what I went through, you can't do drugs. Okay? Whether you're transitioning or not, you can't do them and compete fairly. You just can't do it. So I don't fully understand where this story's going. I'm going to seek to try to understand it more because I feel for anyone that's suffering about how they feel about themselves and all that. I struggle with a lot of mental problems, and I'm saying it's a mental problem. It has to be a lot of anxiety build up to even announce or do anything like that. I mean, we all battle forms of depression and anxiety, and we're all trying to survive this world. And, they're just we're just trying to survive. And I want to be kind to others, and I want to do things that, help the world. And I get my podcast is pretty negative. And I'm trying to fix that because I don't like being negative. And the goal is not to be negative. And then this story came out. I'm like, oh, man, I want to be kind to Rebecca Quinn. And I want to understand. That is it. But the problem I have, the one thing I do have a problem with Rebecca, on her Instagram post, so on Rebecca's Instagram post, this is where I have a big problem. It's these statements. So she says in her Instagram, coming out is hard and kind of BS. I know for me, it's something I'll be doing over again for the rest of my life as I live and as an open trans person with the people I love the most for many years. I didn't always wonder when I'd come out publicly. Instagram is a weird space. I wanted to encapsulate the feelings I had towards my trans identity in one post, but that's really not why anyone is on here, including myself. So instead, I want to be visible to queer folks who don't see people like them on their feed. I know it saved my life years ago. I want to challenge cis folks. If you don't know what cis means, I don't. That's probably you. Okay, I guess I'm cis. To be better allies. It's a process, and I know it won't be perfect, but I can encourage you to start. Then it's something. So that's a nice statement. And now I know what cis is. I'm a cis, I guess. I need to look it up more. But she puts these numbers down of something to think about. 1, put your pronouns in your bio. No, I will not. 2, follow, listen to other trans NB voices. And she lists some, to name a few, listen to their voices. I'm willing to do that. 3, practice using gender-neutral pronouns with friends in a mirror. No, that's weird. I don't even like looking at myself in the mirror, except I used to look in the mirror and be like, just as a joke, just seeing how it made me feel. You are wonderful. You are special. You can be great. I don't know. I've done weird stuff like that. And I also went and looked in the mirror, or went in the bathrooms with looking at the mirror, saying Bloody Mary 3 times. And then in the house by myself when I was a kid. That was nuts. So she goes on to say 4. Oh, I probably should scroll down so you guys can see what's going on here. 4, vote. Okay. Thanks. I guess I'll vote now. 5, start to catch yourself making assumptions about people, public bathrooms, any spaces. What? I never really think about it, but if it'd probably be for I have 2 daughters and 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 a wife. I'd be nervous for them to go into the bathroom and a transgender male that converted female went in there, or anyone faking to be in the bathroom. I'm always worried about my daughters, and I want my daughters to always be safe because there's sickos out there that are looking to commit crime and stuff like that, and I don't want them to have an advantage. I think you should go to the bathroom according to how you present yourself. Then you're good to go. But you should, I don't know. All this is crazy. You know, it's hard to get through. And I hope you enjoyed that clip. If you enjoyed it, like it, share it, and most importantly, subscribe to my channel. If you do that, you'll receive the information needed to offset the many lies U.S. Soccer provides, whether it's with club soccer or MLS Next and every academy showcase, all that stuff. I'll give you the information that you're needing to know that's opposite what you're being told. And then you can make an informed decision. If you like that, if you like the truth, you like to listen from someone that's not selling you a product, because I'm not selling you anything. I'm just giving you information. I'm your guy. Subscribe today.